Hello and welcome back to another episode. Now today I want to talk to you about my adoration of Metroid Prime. Metroid Prime is one of those games which I actually came to in my gap year. Between high school and uni, I took a year to actually just to try and earn some money for uni, and this game came out on the GameCube as was. I'm playing it today on my Wii, but obviously using GameCube controller. And I didn't really know what to expect. I'm ashamed to say actually that I was relatively unaware of the legacy of Metroid, for example, on the SNES. And actually only recently have I actually been playing Metroid, Super Metroid, for example, on my 3DS. So I wasn't really sure what to expect when this game came out, and it sort of breaks a lot of the rules, as it were. You know, there's no conventional sideways strafing. So, for example, on the GameCube controller, you can't use the C stick to strafe left and right. It doesn't feel like a Call of Duty game, I suppose is what I'm saying, and initially I thought, oh, I'm not going to like this at all. I don't really know how to play this game. But I played through this sort of opening level, which introduces lots of gameplay elements. For example, making use of the scan visor. So on the left hand side at the bottom there, you can see there's a little cross on the screen, and that actually corresponds to the D-pad on the controller. So I press left and then hold the left shoulder button and I can scan. Well, that's kind of cool, and this scanning actually does something. It turns on the next gate. So instantly I was sort of like, okay, so this isn't a Call of Duty. But I still wasn't sure about the movement. I still thought, oh, I'm not sure about this movement at all. And as I carried on thinking about it, other things started to occur to me. So, for example, number one is the fact that the screen is actually Samus's visor. Now, that was interesting to me, because again, in Call of Duty, you don't have like HUD, or at least you didn't then. It was just, you know, you're playing some bloke usually in the Second World War, and they weren't wearing helmets like this. But if you look, for example, as I move, there's a slight delay on the HUD catching up with the movement of Samus's body, almost like her head is moving at a different pace from the rest of her body. And that was really cool, and I sort of started to feel this was kind of immersive. Now, bit by bit as the game progressed, the fact actually that there isn't a strafe with the C stick started to feel a little bit as though actually I was actually in the suit. It's sort of things like that as well, like the way that the visor steams up as you go past steam. The fact that it does feel a little bit clunky and non-fluid compared to, for example, conventional Call of Duty style controls, means you actually feel as though you're in the spacesuit. You're Samus, as it were, and the screen is the visor. So by the time I sort of got to this stage in the level, I was sort of already curious, I guess. Little details like repressurizing locks and artificial gravity, you know, mainstays of sci-fi goodness, and obviously I'm a sci-fi man. And I suppose by the time I got to here, where I started, for example, scanning space pirates, morphology, space pirate, status, death caused by severing of spinal cord. By the time I got here, I was starting to be curious about the story. And this is the real power of the Metroid Prime series, the trilogy, as it would go on to be, is that this game takes the best of, for example, a shooter, such as Call of Duty, and it takes the best of storytelling techniques, for example, as we see in Half-Life, and merges them beautifully into this sci-fi world which you feel compelled to explore and learn more about. Now, I think I might be wrong. Oh no, yeah, he's still alive. There we go. Now, the interesting thing as well is that actually you can strafe, but you can strafe only when you're locked onto something. Oh, charge beam. There we go. So hold the A button and release to fire. So when you're locked onto an enemy, you can jump around them by pressing the B button, effectively strafing. And more to the point, strafing when you need to, not just strafing to get around obstacles in the level. And again, this blew my mind as well. A morph ball, you can turn yourself into a ball. Everything about this game was unexpected to me, and by now I was hooked. Now, this was a time when I was sort of trying to decide what I wanted to do, essentially, with my life. Actually, I had been going to an art college, and it just became clear that that wasn't for me. So I decided to, in this year, I decided to become an archaeologist. And I'm not going to lie, Samus and her adventure here in Metroid Prime sort of helped with that decision, because all of this investigation of the environment, trying to understand what's going on, and understanding bit by bit, for example, later on in the game, the ruins of the Kozo, or the Chozo, felt like an archaeological adventure. And it kind of, you know, eased me into this notion as I was applying for whatever course I was going to end up doing. I think, actually, Metroid Prime kind of played a part in that. But of course, primarily, I was just properly enjoying this this sensation, and it is a sensation, of being in a spacesuit, noticing things like everything on the HUD means something. So on the left there, the rising and falling exclamation mark tells me how close I am to danger. So there's a fire there, I'm right next to danger, far away, right next. It's just perfect, absolutely wonderful. Oh no! Don't want to electrocute myself there. Through we go. So yeah, it's only been recently that I've actually looked into getting a copy of, for example, Super Metroid. I really wanted to get one for my SNES, but it's just a bit too expensive for my tastes. So I ended up getting a copy for the 3DS on the Virtual Console. And I actually really like the way that this game sort of references elements of Super Metroid. It's got the sort of the grimy feel that Super Metroid has. It has the slightly over the top and powerful weapons and enemies that Super Metroid has. It's also got, I suppose, story elements which I'll come to as they're revealed. Fire a missile. There we go. There's a security drone turret there. Pick up a missile. What's going on here? Subject, auto defense turret. Okay, that must be beyond. How do I get this thing to scan? This specimen has been horribly mutated. There are no life readings. Oh. It is the way that, yeah, that the sort of story elements are shared, but also the way that they're revealed in this game, which I just appreciate so much. Oh, security turret. There we go. It is that sort of Half-Life Gordon Freeman, you know as much as the character knows at any one stage, which makes the game so intriguing. Now this opening level, I think, is probably one of the best opening levels of any game I know of, because you start off, as with all sort of Metroidvania style games, or as with many of them anyway, fully powered. So I can, for example, fire a missile at this chap. I can turn into a morph ball if I want to. I can charge my gun and do that. But all of these skills will unfortunately be taken away from me, and have to regain them and more as the game proceeds. Now on the right hand side, that cross there corresponds to the C stick on the controller, and eventually that will control the different types of gun that I have, different types of blasts that the gun, Samus's arm cannon, can produce. And again, that feels really good. Push up, push down, push left, push right. It feels like everything that you're doing is integrated with the technology that Samus is wearing, if that makes sense. It just adds to the immersion. The fact that the TV screen is the visor, and the technology is basically built around a GameCube controller. That just feels so good. Ooh, there we go. So stuff like this, which comes directly from the old Metroid games, it's such a success, and I really can see why people absolutely adored this when it came out. It's very clever. Now, supposedly, Shigeru Miyamoto himself suggested that the first-person view, I won't save this one, first-person view would be better for the game than third-person, which is quite bold, actually. If you think about the old Metroid-style games, they're all, I suppose, by definition, third-person, in so much as it's a 2D platformer. So to go for this first-person perspective, which also incorporates, for example, third-person morph balling, was very bold, but it just works. It works so well, and I love this game. Now, this is where things get interesting. Naturally, because I was on a gap year and my brother was in his A-levels, I'd be up all night playing this game, and he'd despise me for it because he was having to work hard. The thing is that, you know, I'd done my school working. Now I was sort of, you know, I now had a job working at Blockbuster, and you know, Blockbuster is stressful. You need some downtime from that stuff. And this really did provide that. Now actually, this was at the same time that my brother was doing lots of going out at night, drinking a lot. In my PC Memories video, I talked about how I'd be up late and he'd come home a little worse for wear. And this was one of the games that I'd be playing, not on the PC obviously, on the GameCube. Now, speaking of the Metroid Prime trilogy, I would love to get that on disc for the Wii. I did have a copy of it, but it must have been a dud copy because basically it just didn't work properly at all. So ended up getting rid of it. I have played Metroid Prime 2 Echoes on the GameCube, and I do own Metroid Prime. Is it Corruption? Whichever way around it is. I own the third one for the Wii, and that is superb. I love the controls. I love the implementation of the waggle stick of the Wiimote, but also things like the scanning. The fact that the scanning is so important in the whole trilogy. It anchors you in the world. You need to scan to open doors, you need to scan to learn the weakness of enemies. I should have scanned this monster here, but I might have fought her more than once. And also you can learn story through scanning, so it's perfect. Oh, it's classic Aliens, Resident Evil style. Get out of here. It's gonna go, it's gonna blow. So, scan. Okay, step into the hologram. There we go. Up we go. Look at the cogs. Look at the cogs on the elevator. And this is a GameCube game, by the way. Just remember that. The GameCube is a console that holds up really well. Oh, perimeter turret disabled. Excellent. That means that thing's not going to shoot me. It does hold up extremely well. I mean, it would be superb to be able to play this proper HD, but you know, I'm not greedy. Now, what's the best way out of here? Let's see. Okay, cool. So up here. Man, this place is just going to hell in a handbasket. Die. Now if you charge your gun, it's quite cool. You actually pull power-ups towards you, which is very useful. Where's my way out? Oh, there it is. Okay, cool. Up. 5 minutes 40 seconds to go before the place blows. But isn't it just gorgeous, this game? plays well, it looks good. The gameplay is innovative and engrossing. It's intuitive, and it all serves to tell the story in a way which, as I say, by this point when I first played it, I was hooked. I needed to know more. Come on, come on. So as I say, I'm really very much enjoying playing Super Metroid, and it's just, do you know what? Actually, the thing I like most about it is I'm really reassured by how similar it is. In terms of its core gameplay mechanics. Because I've played this game, Super Metroid feels familiar, and therefore I think it must have worked the same way the other way. I mean, if someone out there knows what it was like to play this game having played Super Metroid and loved it, I'd love to know, because it must have felt good to have all these familiar mechanics in 3 dimensions. It certainly feels good the other way. Come on. But I love the sense of it being its own little universe. It is very much like it sort of pulls a little bit from, for example, the worlds of Alien or whatever. And that's really expanded on in the 3rd part of the trilogy, actually. The opening level, for example, is magnificent. Okay. Come on. We can make this. I will not die. Although I might be about to bump into someone. Perhaps Ridley. As in Ridley Scott, the filmmaker. Ridley is a long-time enemy of Samus. Sort of pterodactyl robot. Okay. Okay. Grapple and grapple. And off we go. Come on. Come on. Damn it. Yeah, that was clearly a loading screen being not so well masked by the door. Priority defense turret turned off. Thank you. Come on. Ah! Ah! So that was embarrassing. Here we are back again at the same point. Off we go. Hopefully I won't die this time. Come on. And scan. And this is where the key moment happens. We're about to lose all our powers. So Samus's suit somewhat shrinks, which is a fantastic game mechanic. It's a classic and it works so well. So you got to earn your missile malfunction, earn all this cool stuff back again. But it's given you a taste, and that's all I needed, was this sort of taste of what Samus could do. And hopefully we'll get back to a point where we can do it again. Oh, come on, let's get out of here. Now again, this inability to strafe, it does mean that sometimes walking around corners can be a bit annoying, but again, it adds to that sense that come on, damn it. So that sense that you are in fact in a spacesuit, and in this instance in a spacesuit in a space station that's about to blow your ass up. Oh, made it this time. There goes Ridley. Samus is like, I'm not having that. Jumps onto her spaceship, which looks gorgeous, by the way. And again, same spaceship that you see in Super Metroid. And down we go to the surface of Talon 4. I believe it's called Talon 4. Which is a fascinating planet. And also actually a gorgeous planet. As we'll see. Tracking an enemy target has been lost. Ground-based recon required. Begin landing sequence. So here we go. Now, obviously, this isn't, you know, this isn't current gen. It's not even Xbox 360 style or PS3 style, but it is still very good looking. They knew where to push the boat out with the GameCube. Speaking of which, actually, little surprising things like earlier I was playing and recorded on my phone. Things like reflections on certain surfaces. That sort of stuff made me so happy at the time, and I'm sure it made lots of other gamers happy. There's little details, didn't have to be there, but just add to the world. And speaking of adding to the world, this feels very much like the overworld of Super Metroid, where I am at the moment. But no, don't save it just yet. But look at this. When I first got here, I was like, wow, look at the weather, you know, look around. And I thought to myself, I wonder if I look up, will I get raindrops on my visor? And I do. And that really just underlined, it was so joyous to have that sense of immersion rewarded. The game makers have been trying to make you feel as though this is her visor, so the moment you think, or you assume something might go, sort of cause drops and, you know, smear the visor, and it does, they've got you hooked. You know, you're trapped, as it were, in this game. Let's leave it there, shall we? I love Metroid Prime. I love the Metroid series I'm coming to find. Yeah, I've always liked, for example, Castlevania, and I'm really very much enjoying, for example, Super Metroid. But Metroid Prime is the game that got me into it, and I simply had to talk about it. I know that sometimes, you know, people go, "Oh, Nintendo videos, we can't make those. They'll be claimed." But so what if this is claimed? As long as it's not taken down off YouTube. In this instance, I don't mind, because I simply had to share my love of Metroid Prime. If you haven't tried this game out, you really should. It just feels right, and the use of this controller, the use of the GameCube controller, the fact that her HUD sort of matches up to what's on here, just feels perfect. The immersion, I keep on using that word, is top quality, and give it a go. If you haven't, give it a go. Anyway guys, as ever, until next time, do take care. Bye bye.